Okay, so you're going to notice that lecture is going to start sort of truncating into these little tiny smaller lectures. It's just a way for me to help you sort of differentiate between the different art historical eras. So it seems like a lot more when you look at it on Blackboard, but it's really not. I'm just breaking it up for you a little bit. So right now we're going to talk about American muralism. And when we think about America, we often think of the United States, but we leave out Mexico and South America. Remember, all of the United States and all of South America and Central America is considered American. So keep that in mind as we talk about American muralism. American muralism stems from this post-war culture. It's culture that tended to allow artists to react socially. It starts with the Dadaists and their reaction to war. But as the war wraps up, we have more and more artists that step up and say, well, I have something to say about this. It felt like they were promoting things that were socially relevant, promotion of good old wholesome American values. Mexico goes through a leftist revolution in 1911 to 1920. And because of this, there's a bigger surge of Mexican mural paintings with a social agenda in Central and South America. The United States really did not go through that revolutionary time the way that South America did and the way that Central America did. And I really think that had to do with our government structure. In South America and Central America, the countries are smaller. You've got lots of different people in ruling power. New York City covers the murals often in the art press, which leads to lots of commissions in the U.S. for artists like Diego Rivera, other Mexican muralists like Siqueiros and Orozco. But we're really going to focus on Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. So Diego Rivera makes art that has social meaning behind it. This one is called The Great City of Tenochtitlan. Spanish is my research language, so I'm much better at pronouncing the Spanish words. It was a commission that was from I'm sorry, I don't know who commissioned it. It is a representation of the Aztec marketplace. Tenochtitlan is one of the indigenous groups of people from Mexico. And so you can see that the Aztec ruler presides over this very common orderly market. There is no sense of Aztec imperialism here, which we know existed quite prevalently. It was a tribute to the sacrifice of victims that were brought to the Tenochtitlan group of people who were the indigenous people of Mexico. So, I mean, that's very similar in Mexico as it is in the U.S. There are groups of indigenous people that, for whatever reason, were displaced. And so he's making a statement about their displacement. He's making a statement about the beauty of their culture. He's making a statement about how the beauty of the culture has become a tourist attraction. From the public way that Diego Rivera's art is displayed, usually in a fresco or large paintings, mural paintings on walls, he receives commissions in the United States. He receives major commissions from Detroit, San Francisco, the Rockefeller Center in New York City. This particular one comes from a series of 27 fresco panels. They are fresco panels of assembly workers with tools, and they are working. They're in the process of working. And he sort of takes a snapshot, a photograph of them working. Doctors and scientists stand near a child in a nativity scene that plays tribute to medicine. I think those are in the panels below here. Remember, you're only seeing one of a 27 painting series. There's a panel here that shows Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company, who watches a collection of unseen workers below. And then, of course, these panels here in the front, at the lower front, show the different facets of those workers working in terms of, you know, there are accountants and power heads and people that typewrite and add and do all of those things that are sort of the back-end business office of the manufacturing plant. And so Diego Rivera pays homage to them in these panels that you see closer to the picture plane. Rivera was commenting on industry, and he wanted to challenge ideas about its role in society. And he wanted to raise issues about social class and politics through these. He considered the Detroit industry the most successful piece of his career. In 1932, Edsel Ford, who was the son of Henry Ford and the president of the car company, the Detroit Institute of Arts works together with them and commissions Rivera to paint 2 more murals for the museum's garden court. The only rule was that the work had to relate to the history of Detroit and the development of industry, just like this 27-panel series did. But this work of art from Diego Rivera is probably the most famous of the works of art that nobody ever got to see. It's a work of art that was commissioned by J.D. Rockefeller for the Rockefeller Center. And Rockefeller originally wanted Henri Matisse or Pablo Picasso to paint it because he liked their modern style. But neither of them were available, and so Rivera was one of Rockefeller's mother's favorite artists, and so he commissions it from Rivera. He was given a theme. The theme was Man at the Crossroads Looking with Hope and High Vision to the Choosing of a New and Better Future. Rockefeller wanted the painting to make people stop and think, and Rivera was paid $21,000 for the work. He envisioned 3 murals. The Man at the Crossroads would be in the center, and it would be flanked by the frontier of ethical evolution and the frontier of material development. The central composition was intended to contrast capitalism and socialism. The basic compositional idea was approved by Rockefeller, and so Diego begins working on it. The center has an image of Lenin and the Soviet-Russian May Day parade. There were many discussions between Rockefeller and Rivera about this work of art, but Rockefeller felt that there was a impending threat of socialism in the United States. And so Diego finishes it. It discusses socialism. It discusses technology and how socialism promotes technology. Europe is paid homage to through the classical sculptures that you see. And Rockefeller gets anxious and decides that he's going to paint over the mural. So only black and white photographs of the original mural exist. Rivera repaints a composition in Mexico under a different title. He titles it Man, Controller of the Universe. So you can see that Lenin is in the middle, and you can see in the background people who are fighting against chemical warfare. You can see scientific discovery through the magnifying glass and the telescope. You can see the parade of people. And then again, you can see the homage to Europe with the large classical sculptures. She loved animals. Her signature were these heavy brows that are bushy. She would paint herself with slight mustache, sort of taking on some of those more masculine traits. She and Diego Rivera were both bisexual, and they had an open marriage. You can see that her monkey is sitting on her back here, as well as her cat. She owned a monkey. I cannot remember his name, but he was a well-loved little monkey. If you go to the MoMA today, you'll get to see this painting, as well as this one. This painting was a painting that she did in reaction to Diego cheating on her with her sister. She called it The Two Fridas, and you can see that she is sitting in front of you with her heart open in her wedding dress. She has tried to cut the heart out and put it in her other self that seems less identified by her marriage to Diego. Many people in the LGBTQ community look at Frida Kahlo as a role model because she was so very independent, because she said, I don't need a man to be happy, because she had her own things and she wasn't completely wrapped up in her identity as Diego's wife. She had her own identity and she stuck to it.